Let me tell you a small story. On August 5th, Mr. Patterson is he's a bit hungry, his stomach is talking to him, and he needs to fulfill the need. He lives in Jacksonville, Florida, and he goes to the local Subway store. And he orders a sub. And God forbid, the unbelievable happened. They forgot to put the Italian sauce. Do you know what he does? Do you think he complained to those people? No, they're useless. Everybody knows customer-facing people don't have the power. Do you think he calls the call center? No, not Mr. Patterson. He's not going to waste his time. He's going for the highest authority. He's calling 911 and complain that he didn't get his sauce. And when 911 does not show up on time, he calls again. And then he calls again, 3 times to 911 because he did not get his sauce in his Subway. Today's customers communicate, and Mr. Patterson for me is the accentuated case. Some of you are saying he's nuts. But what about those who are nuts and complain on the web and tarnish your brand? I had a client who called me one day. He said, Lior, I got great news for you. He said, we have just improved customer experience by 90%. I said, really? What'd you do? He said, well, we used to have that problem where 100% of our invoices were not accurate, and customers were complaining about it. They didn't like that fact, especially those that we overcharged. Those that we undercharged did not have a problem with that, somehow. So we fixed that. And now customer experience have improved by 90%. And I said to him, Bob, can you show me one customer that will pay you a dime more for the privilege of getting an accurate invoice? And the answer, of course, was no. What happened is we often, in the name of delighting the new customer, focusing on what we call dissatisfier removal. We have this vicious cycle. We do a customer survey. We find out we have some problems. We fix the problems. We think we are great. Then they have more problems. Then we fix the problems. Then we think we are great. Then they tell us that they have more problems. And so the story goes. The problem is when you fix all this problem, you reach parity. You're at the level of meeting expectations. You're at the level of where your competitors are. That's why I hate the term best practices. Best practices means you are copying your competition 2 years after they've done it. Congratulations. Meeting expectations ultimately is boring. Meeting expectations is not going to get you anywhere in terms of differentiation. What the customer wants to see is, what have you done for me above the parity line? How different are you? Why should I do business with you and not with someone else? What is registering in the radar screen is above the parity line, not below. And we are spending most of our time fixing processes, redefining our RVR, and so on and so forth, below the parity line. We are focusing on dissatisfier removals as opposed to creating new value. Think about it. In the study of Gallup Group, actually, it was very interesting. They compared the purchasing patterns of unsatisfied customers, rationally satisfied customers, and emotionally satisfied customers. Unsatisfied customers had the same exact spending as rationally satisfied customers. It almost doesn't pay to try to fix those processes. It was only the emotionally satisfied customers that doubled their spending. According to a Forrester study, 17% of satisfied customers in financial services will not speak to the competition. 17. The rest of them, 83%, who are satisfied customers that you have satisfied, are talking to the competition about a better deal, about a better price, about something else. What's going on here? Boring, meeting expectations is no longer the benchmark. It's not going to cut it. I was dealing with a software company just 3 weeks ago. We were going through their win-loss analysis. And they were shocked to see that a software company, specialized area, they were shocked to see an interesting comment. They lost the deal because the other vendor was warmer. Do you hear what I said? Price was no issue. Features were no issue. The other vendor was warmer. They turned to me and said, what are we supposed to do now? And I said, maybe we should send the salespeople with some heaters, Maybe we'll create a war. And then they said they were more eager. And we were all of a sudden dealing with a new territory of emotional engagement. A new territory where even in business to business, they said, I want to see that you care about me. I want to see that you want me to be successful, not you. Because when you talk to me, I feel that the only thing that matters to you is you want to make your quota. You're talking to me from your perspective. I'm a mean to an end. I'm not your goal. I'm not at the center of what you do. You're self-centric, using my budget as a way to make it to the president's club, or to make your quota, or to make your numbers. Not interested. I'm bored. And you know very well what happens to somebody who's bored. Somebody who's bored is looking elsewhere. Somebody who's bored is everything but loyal to what you do. In a study that we've done, we benchmark the CEM market every year, and if you want a copy of that study, we'll be happy to share that with you. We were asking executives just like yourself, what do customers actually ask for? Where are they coming from? And the interesting piece here, we were thinking that we will see one of those Web 2.0, amazing, well-engaging tools, capabilities with... No. They said, how about value-added services? How about once and for all, you actually solve my problem, not yours? How about you redefine the problem so you can actually deliver to me what I need, not what you need? How about personalized solution? And that came way before emotionally engaging experiences. We're still at ground zero on some of the challenges. One of the biggest successes that we have seen in the last couple of years in terms of relationship with customers is probably iPad. People assign to iPad the success due to the design. But I must tell you that there was no market research study that said that people needed white earphones. It wasn't. There was no response to market needs in terms of, black is not the new cool, we need to have white. I would like to submit to you that what Apple have done is actually became customer-centric and did something that is phenomenal in terms of customer experience and responding to the new customer. If you remember a couple of years ago, we had plenty of MP3 players. Creative Lab, Samsung, and many others who produced them. The world did not need another MP3 player. When Apple looked at the problem, they looked at it and they said, look, if we're going to define ourselves narrowly around MP3 players, we are going to be just like the competition. But what is the customer problem? How are we going to actually customize and add value? And we had two problems, may I remind you. The first one was there was no legal way to download music. Napster Kazaa was not legal. And if you wanted to put your disc and download music, it wasn't easy. It was a bit cumbersome. What Apple have done is they've expanded their definition of a problem to include legal capabilities because they are the ones who negotiated the rights with the music companies. Nobody else did that. They had to go and create knowledge in an area that they don't have. Why? Because that was the customer problem. The customer problem was not another MP3 player. Sure, cool design is great. And then they had a problem with the software. They needed to create the iTunes software in order to allow us to do the downloads very well. So what they've done is they've actually expanded their definition of a problem, acquired some new capabilities in areas they haven't been playing before in order to be able to give the customer a complete solution. We are actually, I would submit to you, still at that level. And many companies are trying to skip the define part and go straight to the delight. One of my favorites is when companies come to me and say, can we do one of those loyalty programs, with the gold and silver and blue, and then everything will be great because we're just going to give customers some more freebies and they'll come back to us. Now, which industry leads the loyalty programs? Which industry leads the loyalty programs in the world? The airlines. In fact, the first loyalty program that we know is Advantage from American Airlines in 1982. If there is one industry that have all the information about the customer, it's probably the airline industry. They know our patterns, they know where we fly, they know what we do. And yet half of this industry is in bankruptcy. What happens to all the loyalty? Why are they not venturing into this amazing loyalty and connection and bonding with customers? Because the core product stinks. Because US Air is charging $2 for coffee now. What we used to get for free is now for charge. Because if you don't define your experience clearly from the customer perspective and deliver it, no loyalty will work. You won't be able to delight anyone if the core product is not there. So we need to be conscientious of the fact that when we are dealing with the new customer that's pushing and accentuating their individualism, the new customer that wants an emotionally engaging connection, how are we doing that? Don't go for superficial shortcuts. It's not going to cut it.